Hi, welcome to this video on something called compound area, which some of you may have come across before in primary, but probably most of you haven't. So we'll start with the basics of what compound area is. Well, a compound is anything that's made by joining stuff together. So a compound shape is a shape that is made up of smaller shapes. Okay, they can be quite complicated, and so what we do is we split them up into their smaller parts, and those smaller parts are often easier shapes to work with. Okay, so this needs to go in your book. A compound shape is a shape made up of smaller shapes, and we often split a compound shape into parts. So before we get into the compound shapes properly though, I just want to go over some rectangles and triangles from last week. So what I'd like you to do is to first of all draw those two rectangles. I'd like you to work out the area and the perimeter for both. So pause the video, and then when you're ready, press play. Okay, so for the first one, if we're doing the area, it's length times width, so 3 times 7, which is 21, and the units centimetres squared. And the perimeter, you add up the 4 outside edges, so 7, add 3, add 7, add 3, which is 20 centimetres for the first one. Area 21, perimeter 20. A little bit trickier on this side, so the area is 3.4 times 6, and the easiest way to do that is to do 34 times 6 and put the decimal point back in afterwards. So 6 times 4 is 24, 6 times 3 is 18, with the other 2 is 20. So instead of 204, it'll be 20.4. So 20.4 centimetres squared. And the perimeter then is 6, add 3.4, add another 6, add another 3.4, so it's 12 and 6.8. So that's 18.8 centimetres. Remember, perimeter is when you go around the outside, adding up as you go. Okay, then when you're ready, I'd like you to find the area and perimeter of these two triangles. So pause the video to draw them, work out the area and perimeter of the two triangles. Area for the first one then. Remember, it's base times height divided by 2. So there's the base, there's the height. We don't need this diagonal to do the area, we just need the base and the height. So it's 4 times 3 divided by 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 6 centimetres squared. But if we were doing perimeter, we add up all of the outside edges. So that's 3, add 4, add 5, so 12 centimetres. For the one on the right, 5 is the base, 12 is the height. So the area is base times height, 5 times 12 divided by 2. 5 times 12 is 60, divided by 2 is 30, 30 centimetres squared for area. And the perimeter is 5, add 12, add 13, so 5 add 12 is 17, and with a 13 also makes 30, but just centimetres this time. So make sure you are familiar with how to find the area and perimeter of rectangles and triangles before you go any further with this video. Right, this is a compound shape. So it looks like an L shape. Now there's no formula or rule in maths for working out the area of an L shape. So this is a compound shape, but I'd like you to draw it, not to scale, but neat and tidy with a ruler, so you don't actually have to make it 10 centimetres as long as you label it 10 centimetres. So pause the video and draw it. When you're ready, press play. To find the perimeter is not so bad. All you've got to do is add up round the outside. So 4, add 8, add 10, add 5, add 6, add 3, every outside edge. But the area is the trickier one, because to find the area of this, you're going to need to divide it up. Now you can divide it up in lots of ways, but probably the easiest way to divide this shape, and you can add it to yours, is to chop down there. And now what we're looking at is two rectangles. Okay, if I colour them in, they look like that. To find the area of the whole shape, what I do is find the area of the pink rectangle and the area of the blue rectangle, and I add them together. Now then, you've got to pick the right numbers. We don't need all of these numbers. If you look at the pink one, to find its area we do length times width. And if I take it off, it's 8 by 4. Okay, we don't need the 3. The 3 is only measuring from there to there. So the 3 doesn't tell me anything about the pink rectangle. So to work out the area of the pink rectangle, so I'll label it A. So area A is 8 times 4, which is 32 centimeters squared. Now we'll look at the blue rectangle. Now then, what two numbers would you multiply to find the area of this blue rectangle? Because we've got a 6, we've got a 5, and we've also got a 10. If I take it off, which two numbers come with us? It's the 6 and the 5, not the 10. It's 6 wide and it's 5 tall. The 10 is both shapes combined, so the 10 goes all the way across. So the 10 doesn't tell us how long the blue rectangle is, which is 6 by 5. So to find the area of the blue rectangle, and I'll label it B. So area B is 6 times 5, which is 30 centimeters squared. And then to get the total, so the total area, you add them together, would be 62 centimeters squared. So I didn't use the 3 and the 10 when I found the area, but if I'm going to do the perimeter as well, remember the perimeter is all of the outside edges. So if I start from up here and work my way round, it's 8, add 10, add 5, add 6, add 3, add 4. So all of the outside edges. You wouldn't include this one because it's not on the outside of the shape. 8 add 10 is 18, add 5 makes 23, add 6 makes 29, add 3 makes 32, add 4 is 36 centimeters. But the biggest thing you need to learn here is that to find the area of a compound shape, you must split it up into smaller, easier shapes, work out the individual areas, and then add up to get the total at the end. So have a look at another one then. Again, pause the video and draw this for me. It needs to be neat, but it doesn't need to be exactly to scale. And just to be different this time, because you don't always chop down, you can chop across if you want. Okay, we'll chop across there. So again, it's two rectangles. We've got 6 numbers, but we only need 4 of them. So if I put it into little coloured blocks, now it looks like this. And all you've got to do now is work out the right number to use. So for the green one, how wide is it? How tall is it? Which of the numbers are we not going to use? If I pick it up and move it and see what comes with us, it's 12 wide and 3 tall. And the 6 doesn't count because the 6 just doesn't go all the way across. The 6 is measuring that gap there. So we're not going to use the 6, we are going to multiply the 3 and the 12. So if I call that area A, so area A is 3 times 12, which is 36 centimeters squared. Now look at the brown one. What two numbers tell me the length and the width of the brown rectangle. We've got a 7, we've got a 6, and we've got a 10. Now I only want the length and width of the brown bit, so if I take it off, I'm only using the 7 and the 6. I'm not using the 10 because the 10 goes all the way up. The 10 is the green one and the brown one added together. So the 10, it doesn't help me on the area. I need to use the 7 and the 6. So area B, 7 times 6 is 42 centimeters squared, which means the total 36 add 42 is 78 centimeters squared. To do the perimeter though, I need to add up all of the outsides. So if we start from up here, we've got a 3, we've got a 6, so 3 add 6, we've got a 7 and a 6, a 7 and a 6, and we've got a 10 and a 12. So that's 9, 16, 22, 32, 44 centimeters. All of the outside edges added up. Don't include that one because it's not on the outside of the shape. It's on the inside. It's not really there. It's only there because we chopped it up. Let's look at another one. This one's a little bit trickier. So what two shapes have I stuck together to make this one? Now it's a trapezium, and there is a rule for trapeziums, but we're going to do it as a compound shape. To split it this time, and we tried to split it into the least shapes possible, I'm going to cut across there. So this time we've got a rectangle and a triangle. Now we've got some numbers we're not going to need, we've got some numbers we are going to need, and we've got to do some figuring out. But the 13 measures all the way up to the very, very top. If you think of it like a house, the 13 goes all the way to the roof. The 7 doesn't include the roof bit, the triangular bit. So this is a little bit trickier. If I label it A and B, A and B, shape A is probably the easiest. So to do area A, how wide is it? How tall is it? It's definitely 8 wide. And if I'm only looking at the sort of the orangey colour, then it's 7 tall. This edge is 7. So 8 times 7 is 56 centimeters squared. Now area B is a bit trickier because I've only got one number for area B at the minute, which is 10 centimeters. Now because it's a triangle, we have to do base times height divided by 2. Now 10 is not the base, this is the base, and this is the height. So I don't know the base and I don't know the height either at the minute. But if you look at this triangle, it's exactly the same width as the rectangle, isn't it? Because it's sitting on top of it nicely. So I do know that the base is 8 centimeters because it's on top of the rectangle, and the rectangle is 8 centimeters. So that's 8 centimeters. The height, now just the roof on its own, so I'll draw it with a red arrow. This is the height that I need. Just the roof on its own, the green triangle. It's not 13 because 13 goes all the way from the top to all the way to the bottom. I want to go all the way from the top but stop there. But I do know that the orange bit is 7. So if I put a 7 by there, and to work out the height of the green triangle, it's the difference between 13 and 7, which is 6. 13 take away 7 is 6. So to work out the area of the triangle, its base, which is 8, times height, which is 6, which is 48, divided by 2 is 24 centimeters squared. And then if I add those two up, so the total is the 56 for the rectangle and the 24 for the triangle, which makes 80 centimeters squared altogether. And if you wanted to do perimeter as well, so perimeter, if we work our way around the outside, probably the easiest way to do this is to delete all my extra workings, because it's going to get confusing. So if I get rid of all the extra things I wrote on, and we just work our way around the outside. So if I start from the top corner, I got to go down 13, I got to go across 8, I got to go up 7, and then I got to go diagonal 10. So that's 21, 28 plus 10 makes 38 centimeters for the perimeter. You don't need to include this one because it's not on the outside of the shape. We just go around the 4 outside edges when we're doing perimeter. And then the last one for this video, so back to rectangles. I'll move it over a little bit as well, so I've got some more room to work. What you'll notice this time though is that we've got some missing measurements, but we can work out what they are. And now, first of all, I'm going to put my chopping line on. Pause the video if you need time to draw it. So I'm going to chop down there, and I'm going to label them A and B. Now then, shape A, I know how tall it is. It's 8 tall, but I don't know how wide it is. But I can work out how wide it is by doing this. Now if I go back a couple of pictures actually to show you this. On this one, this is 10 and it's going across the page. We call that horizontal. And if you look at the other two horizontal lines, 4 and 6 add up to make 10. If you look at the vertical, the long one over this side is 8. And if you look at the other two verticals, 3 add 5 makes 8. On this one, that 12 going all the way across the top, and then I've got 6 add 6 makes 12. I've got 10 coming all the way down this side, and we've got 3 and 7, and 3 add 7 is 10. So your vertical lines down the left add up to the vertical line down the right. The horizontals on the bottom add up to the horizontal on the top. So how does that help us? Well, look, I've got 10 going all the way across the bottom. I've got 6 there, and I've got something missing up there. So what goes with 6 to make 10 altogether? This must be 4. 4 add 6 makes 10. So area A is 8 times 4, which is 32 centimeters squared. Area B, I know it's 6 wide, and I know it's 5 tall. So I don't need to do anything with this one because I've got its measurements already. It's 6 wide and it's 5 tall. So area B is 6 times 5, which is 30, and then I can add them together to get the total. So the total is 32 add 30, which is 62 centimeters squared. But I do have one more missing number in there. 8 is vertical, 5 is vertical. What goes with 5 to make 8? How many centimeters am I missing? 5 plus 3 makes 8. And the reason I need that is because to do the perimeter I need all of the outside edges. So I can't have any empty ones. So now I can work way around the outside. I'm adding up all of the green and yellow highlighted ones this time to do the perimeter. So it's 8, add 10, add 5, add 6, add the 3 that I just worked out, and the 4 that we worked out earlier. So 18, 23, 29, 32, 36 centimeters. So if you've got missing edges on a shape, You can work them out, and you'll need to work them out, and you do it by comparing horizontals and verticals and making them add up. So just to go through it again, look, this 4 and this 6 in yellow add up to make 10, which is also horizontal. The green 3 and this green 5 add up to make 8 on the other side. They've got to match. You can't have 8 here and then them adding up to 9 because your shape would go all wonky. You can't have 10 down here and then 4 and 6. You can't make them 8. They've got to add up to 10 because it's 10 down the bottom. Okay, that's how you work out your missing edges if you've got a compound shape with missing measurements.